All right, let's jump right in. Today we're unpacking what is honestly the ultimate roadmap for the near future of tech. We're looking at Y Combinator's Summer 2026 request for startups. If you want to know exactly what the absolute smartest minds in the startup world are betting on right now and, what they're desperately asking founders to actually build, well, this explainer is your definitive blueprint. Okay, let's dive into this because the entire document is anchored by this one massive paradigm shift. We have officially moved way past the era where AI is just a neat little feature, like a clever chatbot helping you draft a polite email or summarize a Zoom meeting. No, AI is now the foundation. It's the core bedrock we're going to use to completely rebuild both our digital and physical realities from the ground up.
So, here's our mental map for today. First up, AI as the foundation. Then we hit Frontier 1, autonomous agents, followed by Frontier 2, rewriting software, and Frontier 3, hard tech. Finally, we'll wrap up with selling to the giants and the generational opportunity. Let's hit it.
All right, starting off with Frontier 1, autonomous agents.
We are crossing a monumental threshold right now, where AI isn't just a tool we use anymore, it's the entity actually doing the work. Think about it. In the legacy SaaS era, you bought software as a tool to help your human employees do their jobs better, right? But AI-native companies, they're completely flipping that model on its head. They aren't selling you a tool, they're selling the service itself. So instead of buying complex accounting, insurance, or compliance software just so you can sit there and do the work yourself, you're now hiring an AI system that literally does the entire job for you, from start to finish.
And this profound shift isn't just for low-level admin tasks either. Frontier models are literally hitting genuine PhD-level performance in complex reasoning now. Just look at this classic scientific discovery loop. Historically, this whole cycle was bottlenecked by slow human effort at every single stage. But now, highly intelligent systems can actually run this entire closed loop for fields like drug discovery or materials science. The AI proposes candidate molecules, automated robotic labs physically synthesize and test them, and then those empirical results feed directly back into the AI to iteratively improve the very next batch. It's wild.
But there's a catch to all these brilliant agents. And it's a $20 billion catch. That's the staggering amount NVIDIA recently paid to acquire Grok. Why? Because autonomous agents simply do not work like traditional software. They constantly loop, they branch, they backtrack. They have to hold massive amounts of context across dozens of sequential steps just to finish one single task. Current GPUs just aren't built for that kind of constant context switching. They only hit about 30 to 40% peak utilization. So there is an absolutely urgent, massive demand right now for purpose-built inference chips designed specifically for the way these agents actually think.
Which brings us to Frontier 2, rewriting software.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that if autonomous agents are the ones doing the heavy lifting now, our legacy software structures are completely broken. AI models are incredibly smart, sure, but their absolute biggest blocker in the enterprise is domain knowledge. Right now, a business functions mainly because humans vaguely remember unwritten rules hidden deep in some random Slack thread or buried in an old email. Enter the company brain. This is a brand new software primitive. It's essentially a living, breathing map of exactly how business operates. It pulls all that fragmented, messy, unstructured data and creates an executable skills file so AI agents can actually step in and do the work safely and reliably.
And we have to remember, these AI agents, they're essentially the next trillion users coming onto the internet. And guess what? They do not want to click human visual interfaces. They don't care about messy dashboards or looking for brightly colored buttons. They desperately need machine-readable interfaces to function. We're talking APIs, command line interfaces, and model context protocols. The software companies of the future can't just build pretty visuals for humans anymore. They absolutely have to build explicitly for agents as first-class citizens right out of the gate.
Because AI has literally collapsed the sheer cost of producing software by 10 to 100 times, the old legacy moats of giant tech monopolies are effectively destroyed. I mean, the gates are wide open. Startups can now build AI-native suites from the ground up, aggressively bundling 10-point solutions into one cohesive platform, or fully open-sourcing a product that used to cost 50 grand a seat. AYC is calling for bold founders to relentlessly attack those massive, once untouchable 10 million-line legacy code bases, things like incredibly outdated ERP software, clunky supply chain systems, and legacy chip design software.
All right, moving right along to Frontier 3, hard tech.
So, software is really just the beginning here. We're rapidly bringing AI out of the cloud and straight into the physical dirt, into space, and onto battlefields. Take agriculture, for example.
We're currently trapped in this terrifying pesticide doom loop. We use more synthetic chemicals, nature rapidly adapts, we get diminishing yields, we pay significantly more, and we take on massive existential risk. I mean, if the pests win, the crops die, it's that simple. But AI precision agriculture changes the game entirely. AI can visually identify individual weeds in real time, allowing advanced robotics to precisely treat single plants. That makes a 90% reduction in pesticide use an absolute immediate reality.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the stakes are just as existential in global defense. Right now, firing a traditional Patriot missile costs about $3 million. But an incoming fully autonomous first-person view drone, $500? Literally all of the economic advantage currently lies with the attackers. A swarm of cheap, jam-resistant drones is nearly impossible to stop with slow, outdated legacy systems. So we urgently need founders to step up and build a real-time, distributed counter-swarm defense stack. We need agile companies that operate way more like a nimble software company, think Cloudflare, than a sluggish traditional defense contractor.
To actually build this physical future, though, we have to fundamentally fix how we make things. Right now, building hardware in the US takes weeks just to get a single new physical part prototyped and shipped. In China, that exact same iteration loop takes a single day. Startups absolutely must fix this massive logistical bottleneck. We need companies that can produce parts dramatically faster, tightly integrating design, manufacturing, and logistics all under one roof. That's the only way we're going to power the next generation of critical medical devices, advanced space electronics, and ubiquitous home robots.
Just consider the global semiconductor supply chain for a second. A single advanced AI chip requires 1,400 distinct process steps across a dozen different countries, and it takes up to 5 months to build. And incredibly, or honestly terrifyingly, this mind-boggling complexity is currently managed with messy Excel spreadsheets, frantic phone calls, and buried email chains. No joke. With massive new American fabrication plants coming online from the CHIPS Act, there is a desperate, screaming need for a supply chain 2.0 startup. We need something to handle real-time allocation and multi-tier risk monitoring before the entire system just breaks under its own weight.
And finally, for this frontier, our massive, insatiable appetite for AI compute and industrial capabilities has to follow humanity into orbit. Reusable rockets from companies like SpaceX unlocking massive new payload capacities and dropping the cost of space dramatically. We're soon going to need thermal and radiation-optimized AI inference chips operating physically in the vacuum of space. And to build those, we're going to need sophisticated lunar industrial mining to extract raw materials like silicon and titanium directly from the moon's surface. We are literally turning space into our next industrial park.
Let's move to the next section and see how this builds into selling to the giants. So, we've talked about incredibly advanced autonomous agents, next-gen defense hardware, and lunar space tech. But it all builds to a very practical, rapidly changing business-to-business landscape. There's a vital question we have to ask you before any of this becomes reality. Who is actually going to buy all this? Where is the immediate enterprise business opportunity to fund these massive, world-changing innovations?
Well, the answer is right at the very top of the food chain. The old way of building a B2B startup meant hiding away in stealth mode for 3 years, just trying to reach feature parity before ever daring to talk to a massive enterprise. Yep, that era is completely dead. The new reality? Massive Fortune 100 enterprises are absolutely terrified of being left behind. They are aggressively seeking AI solutions right now. A small 2 to 3 person team can now ship an incredibly thoughtful, AI-driven product and land a multi-million-dollar pilot with a global giant in a matter of months, not years. That is huge.
Which brings us to our final point, the generational opportunity.
We are staring down a profound generational opportunity here. This specific moment in tech history is utterly unparalleled, and the sheer scale of what's possible is captured perfectly by this single quote. If you can lower costs and increase yields at the same time, adoption isn't slow, it's explosive. So the crucial point is that solving these fundamental physical and digital problems across these 3 frontiers, it won't just build good software businesses, it's going to create incredible, explosive generational value that will completely reshape the global economy.
Which leaves us with one final, vital question to think about as we wrap up today's explainer. If AI is truly no longer just a feature, but the absolute foundation of our entire reality moving forward, what foundational pillar will you choose to rebuild first?